If you're ready to buy a home and you have questions about the costs and the process, then you're in the right spot. There are timestamps in the description below. I'm Tracy Pina, and I've been helping home buyers and home sellers for more than 20 years. And I found this upfront information results in a much higher rate of success and a much lower level of stress. So let's jump in. As you know, I've been selling real estate for over 20 years. What you might not know is that I grew up here in the Bay Area. I live in Los Gatos and I was born and raised in Los Altos. And I've lived everywhere in between, including up in San Francisco. So if you have any questions on any neighborhood, let me know. I'm happy to share all of the information that I have. I always like to start by reminding people that these days anyone can find a home. However, not just anyone can actually get you the home at the best possible price with the best possible terms, and this is why you hire an expert. These next 3 slides cover detailed information that I have found result in the most success. I'll highlight a few key points on each slide and then recommend that you pause the video to read through all the details. So first, for this slide, the very first step in the buying process is the initial consultation. It's imperative that I understand what your wants, needs, and goals are. It's also critical that we find out if we're a good match and if we can work together and be successful. And then the very next step is getting approved. We have to know how much you can afford first before we start home shopping, because the market moves very fast here and we won't be putting our best foot forward if we're scrambling. I have lenders that I'm happy to recommend, and if you have family members and friends that have recommended a trustworthy advisor in the financial field to you, that's absolutely great as well. Pause now. I'll see you back when you jump in. After we have written your offer, it's time to present it. It's important for you that the listing agent understands that I am well organized, composed, professional, experienced, and trustworthy. Lack of organization, lack of communication, and emotions, aside from excitement, can affect the outcome by dissuading a listing agent from choosing my client's offer. My goal at this moment is that the seller and their agent feel very good about your offer so that we can get a counter or, better yet, acceptance. Once again, I recommend you pause and then join back in. Contingency periods don't happen as much anymore, so one of the very critical steps I advise my buyers to do prior to getting your offer accepted is call on your or my insurance broker, get a quote, and then confirm to me that you are comfortable with the rate. As you can see on the little timeline on the screen, the bulk of the transaction happens up front. 2 to 4 days before close, you will sign your loan documents with a notary, you will wire your funds, and then the lender will wire their final funds. On close of escrow, you just sit back, wait for my call, and wait for the keys to your new home. My value to you stems from my experience. With that experience comes very good neighborhood knowledge and, most importantly, very well-honed negotiation skills. I am not one to talk about myself, so here's a client testimonial, and you can see more client reviews on Google, Zillow, and my website, tracypina.com. When you visit my website, click through the different neighborhoods for my personal insights into what it's like to live there, and then reach out to me with any more questions. And also, if it's not on this screen, don't think that I don't serve that neighborhood. I know all of the Bay Area very well, and I have even helped clients leave California and move off to other exciting locations. This slide, in my opinion, is the #1 reason why you hire a realtor. When it comes to negotiation, the key points that I have always believed are the most important as realtors is that we need to be professional, we need to be respectful, and we need to be approachable. So much about this business is really about the relationship between the agents, and it can definitely make or break a deal. I like to actively listen. I like to use effective communication. And if I'm bringing data to the table, I'm using it strategically and with authority without coming across bossy or pushy. Negotiation really can be an art. So the question often comes up, why hire a realtor? We live in a very competitive area, and this is the number one mistake I see buyers making over and over. They tell me I can do everything myself. I can go on Redfin, I can go on Zillow, or I can work with the listing agent directly. These are all fair arguments, but because we live in the Bay Area and it is so highly competitive, what the buyer that says these things is not factoring in is really the key points that matter most. And so what I always ask buyers to consider is these key factors. Number one, when you hire a realtor, you are hiring an employee for you. You can call them anytime. They'll answer any questions. They'll help you research anything. And most importantly, they are a fiduciary to you. Whereas if you choose to work directly with the listing agent, that listing agent has an employee agreement with the seller, and they are a fiduciary to them. So you as the buyer do not have an advocate on your side. What most often happens is that the buyer thinks they are getting a deal by working directly with the listing agent. In reality, you as the buyer have probably just overpaid. Another key thing I like to point out is when I am the listing agent, I prefer to work with a buyer's agent that's knowledgeable and competent in what they do. If there's no buyer's agent, there is no licensed realtor that I can trust to ensure that the buyer performs according to the contract. And the last piece is that as a licensed full-time realtor doing this every day as my career, I have up-to-the-minute market data to benefit you so that you can make a well-informed decision on your purchase price and therefore secure the home you're bidding on. Besides market knowledge, you get the benefit of my experience and knowledge of disclosures, typical inspection findings, contract knowledge to keep you out of court, and access to a complete range of contractors, lenders, and insurance brokers. And ultimately, you have your own advocate working for and solely for you, looking out for your best interests. Everyone always wants to know how much it's going to cost. So when you buy, the costs are very limited. Most of the costs associated with a purchase are going to be from your lender. Here is a snapshot of what the costs are in Santa Clara County and in San Mateo County. And as you can see, the major difference between the two counties is that Santa Clara County is primarily seller-paid fees and San Mateo County is primarily buyer-paid fees. So since it's not on the last slide, you might be wondering, how do I get paid when I work with you as a buyer? Realtors assisting buyers have traditionally been paid in what the legal industry calls a contingency fee, meaning as your realtor, I only get paid when and if you successfully close on a home, and then I get paid a percentage of that sale price. So there is a very large leap of faith that's been happening across the real estate industry for many years. There are so many times myself and other agents out there assist a buyer in some way and never actually get paid for our time or our work. So enter the Buyer Representation and Broker Compensation Agreement. As of this year, this form, which has been in existence for probably longer than I've been selling homes, is now front and center in the industry. I have a video specific to this form, and if you plan to work with me, we can review it together. To break it down for the purposes of this video, there has been a change in the industry. Selling agents, therefore sellers, were required to offer out commission to a buyer's agent. Now, this requirement no longer exists. So there is now going to be a buyer-broker commission agreement that states if a seller is not willing to pay the buyer agent commission, a buyer agrees to pay it directly. The thing is, the buyer has always paid the commission because it was built into their purchase price. And with me, it will continue to be. Item 3G3 of the RPA, or Residential Purchase Agreement, will always be included in your offer. This is a good point for buyers and sellers to be aware of, and probably most agents have never explained it to their clients. When you choose to work with me, I commit to being a professional on your side, keeping your information confidential, negotiating on your behalf, and really understanding your wants, needs, and goals so that we can create a perfect master plan for your real estate investments. If you're looking for more information on buying, I have a video specifically covering the RPA and non-contingent offers, and also one, as I mentioned, on the buyer-broker representation agreement. And then I've got an extensive buyer's guide complete with glossary of terms, compliments of Coldwell Banker, downloadable in the description below. I hope you found this information informative. Once again, I'm Tracy Pina, and as always, if you're ready to start your home search, reach out. It would be my pleasure to help you.